I'm going to record a bunch of videos in one sitting. The first one is about CSGO. You may know me as a guy who loves to play Counter-Strike from time to time. Now, not so long ago, there was a competition, or a sort of a show match, I suppose is the correct word, a show match between some, I think it was Dota pros versus an AI that had been trained to play Dota through sort of an adversarial neural network where it was playing against itself and slowly improving, and the AI obviously beat the pros because that's how AIs work. They're better than humans at things and use strategies that pros had never thought of, and that they sort of implemented them in their gameplay and improved as players after playing against the AI. And I have started seeing the sentiment pop up. Why doesn't someone do this for CSGO? Why doesn't someone make a AI-controlled CSGO team fight against the best pros in the world and, see what happens? Maybe the AI will have some crazy strategies that the pros have never thought of. Maybe it will find exploits and maps and crazy Olaf boosts and whatever. Like, why hasn't someone made a CSGO AI that will, play at a pro level and then do a show match? That would be really cool to see, right? So you think. But actually, I'm here to tell you that sadly your dream is unrealistic. First of all, why has no one made a CSGO AI? They have. Many people have done it. In fact, there's AIs in CSGO. CSGO has bots. And a bot is a form of artificial intelligence. There's a difference between a neural network and an artificial intelligence. A bot is artificially created and, in some sense, intelligently playing the game. They're purposefully bad, though, and this is the biggest problem. Right, but we'll get back to that. It's kind of like chess bots, but we'll get back to it. So, there are also other CSGO AIs that aren't purposefully bad, and they are neural networks as well. And you can find these by going on YouTube and looking up AI aimbot and stuff like this. And in fact, people have even started programming bots to automatically boost accounts. If you do a lot of Overwatch cases, you might find these occasionally, where a bot is playing, it's very clearly a bot playing, and these aren't the standard CSGO bots. These are like someone has created a bot that is better than the standard CSGO bots to boost accounts, so that they don't have to spend time doing it themselves. It's becoming more of a thing, slowly getting more popular. So there actually are CSGO AIs, and some of these are in fact neural nets. Some of them aren't, but some of them I have seen on YouTube, for example, an example of an AI aimbot. So someone trained an artificial intelligence on CSGO footage, and you can plug the CSGO footage into the AI and it will automatically, hit headshots. And really that's the biggest problem with an AI-controlled CSGO team or player or whatever, is that it would just be ridiculously overpowered. You wouldn't see interesting strategies develop, because when you have perfect aim every single time, you don't need interesting strategies. CSGO is a game designed to be played by human beings, and it's therefore designed around struggles and challenges that are difficult for human beings to wrap their heads around. Human beings tend to be not so good. We're very good at some things, we're not so good at other things, and these are different from the things that computers are good and bad at. So, for example, a human person is very good at distinguishing, that is the target I need to hit. If you see a counter-terrorist, or whatever against a wall, it's normally not very, unless they're in some particular position, it's generally very easy to pick out, to recognize, do object recognition, to understand that's the target, that's the person I need to shoot, and you understand this is the head, and so on. You know exactly what to do. For an AI, that's not intuitive. That takes a lot of training for an AI to be able to understand something like that. But they're getting pretty good at it these days, with all of the technology being developed for artificial vision, for self-driving cars and stuff like that. So these days, there is the technology. It would take training, but an AI could pretty easily and reliably pick out a target in Counter-Strike. Now, the other mechanic in Counter-Strike is aiming. So for a human being, even though we might be very easily able to figure out what to aim at, we are not that good at precisely moving our muscles exactly every single time to, the head or wherever you need to click. To precisely the very small mouse motions, we're pretty decent at it. We're pretty good at it, especially compared to other animals. But compared to a computer, we are fucking atrocious. A computer can snap to a head in one frame in a 60 FPS or whatever. Like, if it knows where to go, there is no challenge for a computer to aim. It's completely simple for them. There's no physical muscles for them to move. There's nothing imprecise. It can do the calculations in a split second faster and perfectly get them right every single time. There is no challenge to an AI for aiming. So all AI, even if you only gave them just the screen vision, not like any information about where other players are, directly data streamed from the game, because that would give them wall hacks. Even if you didn't do that, even if you just gave them just the pixels on the screen, the same thing you or I would see when playing Counter-Strike, even without sound, it would be completely unfair. It wouldn't even be fun. There would be no interesting strategies developed, because hitting a headshot is a trivially easy task for an AI. Perfect spray control every single time is a trivially easy task for an AI. CSGO is designed to be challenging for humans. It's not designed to have challenges that are difficult for a computer to execute. And in fact, a lot of the challenges in CSGO are relatively easy for a computer to execute. That's why aimbotting is such a big problem, because it is very easy for a computer to perfectly hit headshots every single time. If it would be like playing against a spin botter. If you were playing against a team of AI, it would be like playing against a team of spin botters. A human enemy would they would stand no chance against it, and there would be no interesting strategies even necessary from the AI, because it would win every single aim battle. And even if it loses one aim battle out of a whole game, then there's still 4 players remaining on their team, and the chances that they all also lose their aim battle for enough rounds, and it's just not happening. It's just not. There would be no interesting strategies. The only possible way to kill an AI would be to full flash them and peek them while they're blind, or to shoot them through smoke, use your advanced game sense and grenades or utility to somehow outthink them. But the chances of that happening reliably for enough rounds to actually win, unlikely. But also, does that even sound very fun? That doesn't sound fun or interesting. That just sounds like playing against someone you have to have full flashed in order to face a chance of killing them. It's just ridiculously overpowered. It wouldn't be fun, it wouldn't be interesting to watch, and that's probably why it hasn't happened. I would assume people who've even tried it, or maybe were going to try it and had the same thought pattern I did, where it's well, maybe that wouldn't be that great after all. If you actually trained an AI to be genuinely good at the game, you would have to make it interesting, give the AI limitations. You would have to make it purposefully bad. You would have to give it a handicap, perhaps somehow emulating inaccuracy, like a human arm with a mouse would have. You'd have to somehow emulate the inaccuracy of human movement to make it somewhat interesting, so that an AI might develop strategy rather than just running in and insta-headshotting every single person. And I don't know how to do that. I'm not an AI programmer at all. I know nothing really about these sorts of things. But that's the only way it would work. And in that case, what's really the point? Because you're not playing against a theoretically perfect player. You're playing against a handicapped AI that it's a different appeal. The appeal of human versus AI is to have them both at full capacity. If one of them is heavily limited, then you may as well be playing against an easy chess bot. It's just an artificial line being drawn. It's an arbitrary skill. You're like, the humans would stand no chance against an AI, so we have to purposely limit the AI. Now, maybe that would be interesting. Maybe it would be interesting to see an AI that had been purposefully handicapped playing against human players. I don't know. That might be something interesting to see, and maybe someone will do it in the future. But in the style of the Dota tournament, I think it was Dota. It might have been League. I'm pretty sure it was Dota though, where the AI is trying its hardest. You could never do that in CS, because it would be trivially easy for an AI to insta-headshot every single person on a pro team. It would just have perfect aim every single time. It would be an aimbot. It would literally just be a perfect aimbot every single time, because these tasks that are difficult for humans, like precisely moving the tiny muscles in your arm to hit a perfect headshot, are not, or memorizing spray patterns and executing them perfectly, these things are very easy for computers to do, because CSGO is a game built for humans and not built to be played by computers. Now, it would be fun to make a theoretical game that is built to challenge AI. That would be a really fun idea. So what if you made a game which is built to have a bunch of challenges, things that are very difficult for AI to do. So stuff like contextual reasoning would be quite difficult. I don't know, I'm not an AI expert, but there's a bunch of things that AI developers struggle with, and deep learning neural net developers struggle with, and stuff like that. What if you took a bunch of those challenges and made a whole game from scratch that is designed to be played by AI, and then you have teams of developers whose task is to develop and train an AI that can play that game effectively. Now that would be super interesting, and then the AIs from various teams go head to head. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know, that sounds like a really interesting concept to me. I would really love to see someone do that. Make a game that is designed to be challenging, not for humans. In fact, it might be something that's quite easy for humans, or maybe it's something that's so ridiculously difficult for humans that it's also difficult for an AI. Like something that a human couldn't even possibly play. The problem with that is I don't know how watchable that would be. It might be kind of interesting, but I don't know how watchable it would be, because AI, you know, they might spin around in circles ridiculously fast for some strategy, or I don't know. I think it'd be really interesting to see something like that. So that's my take on the CSGO. Why hasn't there been a CSGO AIs versus pros match like there was that one time in the other game? Was because the AIs would just easily destroy the CSGO players, and it wouldn't be fun to watch.